So we all now know there is a actor strike going on. Actors and Writers Guild strike are both going on at the same time. And it has brought the industry to an absolute standstill. But it's bringing our attention to a couple of issues that maybe, you know, we as film fans and movie fans and TV fans don't talk about enough. I think a lot of us just make the assumption that if an actor is in a famous movie or TV show, well, they're rich and they're set for life if you're in a big hit TV show or a big hit movie. But we are learning through the strike and having our attention brought to the fact that that is not necessarily true. And one of the biggest sticking points, none of the other members of the AMPTP will say this because I don't think they're wanting to throw their fellow members under the bus. But I'll say it. The biggest studio that is the biggest problem is Netflix. They're the biggest ones. And I have heard rumors and whispers, and many others have as well, that behind the scenes, the other members of the AMPTP know that Netflix is the biggest problem. Of course, that's not to say they're the only problem. There's plenty of blame to go around everybody. But Netflix is a particularly big issue. And it's really getting highlighted today with a couple of interviews and a couple of statements being made by members of the Netflix mega hit show, Orange is the New Black. One star in particular, Kimiko Glenn, who you can see here. She's also, by the way, the voice of Penny Parker in Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse movies. And she's going to be a voice in the third one as well with Penny Parker returning. But she was one of the stars of Orange is the New Black. And she has mentioned some things that really are going to shake a lot of people have that assumption that, hey, if you're an actor in a famous show and whatever, you're set for life. Well, this is what Kimiko said. She goes, and I warn you, she likes to bring the filthy in her dialogue. I deserve to get paid for as many fucking streams as that shit gets. Talking about Orange is the New Black is essentially the rallying cry, courtesy of Kimiko Glenn, of the 2023 Hollywood strike. Now, she goes on to say, Orange is the New Black star Glenn posted a TikTok video alleging a pay discrepancy between actors on the hit Netflix series and a lack of residuals on future streams. People, listen to this, were bartenders still. She's talking about people who were working on Orange is the New Black. People were bartenders still. People had their second job still, Glenn said. They were fucking famous as shit, like internationally famous, couldn't go outside, but had to keep their second jobs because they couldn't afford not to. We couldn't afford cabs to get to set. And to drive the point home, she says this, my tits live on in perpetuity. I deserve to get paid for as many fucking streams as that shit gets. So implying she did some nude scenes in Orange is the New Black. To me, it gets really stunning to me. Look, hey, let's take the issue of residuals aside. And I made a video last week about the problem of residuals, but let's put residuals aside for a second. The fact that you can be working currently on a show that is a big, massive hit, but you're not even getting compensated enough to not work a second job while you're doing it, and you're struggling to even pay your cab fare to get to set to do your job. That's alarming. Look, when a lot of us think of actors, we will think of the Robert Downey Jr.'s. We will think of the Matt Damons. We will think of the John Krasinski's or the Denzel Washingtons. None of them have to take second jobs. None of them have to worry about getting a cab to set. But they do not represent the vast majority of working actors. And the reality that a lot of these working actors face, listen, I'm not going to, I will tell you this much. In stories told to me by our own Erin Cummings, I mean, she was on a hit show and had to struggle just to pay the rent when she had to go to a location to be on set, and she had to have a place to rent to live while she's doing it. And it was hard for her to pay that rent. I won't name the specific show or the companies involved. I'll leave that for her to describe someday. But when you hear stories like this, like especially a show that was as culturally impactful, as huge, and as big as a success as Orange is the New Black, and the people working on their show had to struggle to even figure out how to get to work, there's something wrong. There's something fundamentally wrong here with this. Now again, I am going to be very unpopular and in the minority on my thoughts on residuals and things like that. That is a system that needs to be fixed to work for everybody. But just the fact that while you're working on this show, you got to be a bartender at the same time. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much-needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. Anyway, Chris, you are a member of the Screen Actors Guild. You are on strike at the moment. And I'm sure, you probably don't resonate as much with stories of Tom Cruise flying his private helicopter to set or what like that. But an experience like Kimiko is probably more representative of the average actor's working experience in this. You read her story. What hits you about it?
What's wild is Kimiko was on 44 episodes of a hit Netflix series, garnered 3 SAG awards for Best Ensemble, and still could not make ends meet.
Right.
And we are fed this lie. And so many, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. So many workers are fed this lie in any industry. You are one job away from financial stability, nay, financial success. And
that's what lottery ticket buyers get told all the time.
And that's what we're told as workers. You're just one booking away from this. You're just one booking away from it. I talked about this on Friday. I've never qualified for healthcare through SAG. Never once. Because I've never made more than $10,000. And I have done national commercials. I have done a buttload of video games. I have done a lot of work. And I'm very fortunate. I'm what is considered a working actor. And I do not get qualified for insurance because I don't make more than $27,000 a year. That's not anything anyone can live off of. And because of all these different agreements that people have bought into too, we do get paid on the day for a lot of things, right? But with an ultra low budget, the lowest tier of pay is about $200 a day, unless you enter into an entirely different agreement that waves more of your wages away. So when you think about it, if you were working on set and you were only working for several days, and they're grueling days. They are usually a minimum of 12 hours, usually more. And I know there are going to be people out there who say, I work 12 hours a day all the time. This isn't a suffering contest, you guys. We all shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to work without breaks and all day long just to make ends meet, and barely then. You shouldn't have to either. But you usually work for a limited amount of time, right? You have your shoot schedule. Maybe if you're lucky, you're shooting for a couple months, but then you're done. And because you were working on that show, you maybe weren't taking other jobs elsewhere. You maybe weren't doing this. If you're doing commercials, which is a whole other entity, right? If you're in conflict with another brand, you can't do 2 car commercials in the same time when they're both running on air. So you have to be pretty choosy with the work you do too, and think about the longevity of how you're going to get paid. And residuals have always been the thing that's been able to sustain actors and have a working class actor, somebody who makes $40,000 a year. It's not asking much. And for somebody on this level who has been on Broadway, she was in Waitress, she played Dawn in Waitress. She has a incredible voice acting career. She obviously is part of a huge cultural zeitgeist show. To struggle like this, what hope do the rest of us have, honestly, if things stay the same for your average working actor who's just trying to pay their bills? It's outrageous.
I got to ask this. Because I think a lot of television fans and movie fans are like me, like we're sitting on the outside. And again, most 99% of the working public and people go to jobs, they never get residuals on any of their work.
Yeah.
But set that aside. How does a place like Netflix, and by the way, again, Netflix is not the only guilty party here. I'm just saying, we're just using them as the example. Have a globally recognized mega hit show and don't pay the people who star in it enough as they're working on this show. Like, how do they even get away with that? How does a scenario like that even come into play? And is that the same? And this isn't a rhetorical question. I honestly don't know the answer to this. Has that been a common experience with actors as they've worked on on network television shows in the past, like working on a hit show, like, I don't know, I'm going to go back, whether it's Family Ties or whatever, a CSI show, like, has literally a non-livable wage been paid to actors in stars on network shows too, or is this a fairly new phenomenon with the streamers? How do you see that?
It's a newer thing, honestly, because that strike that we had with the writers at the same time in the 1960s really pioneered a lot for film residuals in general. So network television, once we were able to track that, right? Once we were able to see how many households are watching this, how many people are doing this, the actual ad revenue that was coming in from everything, that is how residuals were tracked and how money was divvied out to people and performers, right? Because that's the different thing here is if you are an accountant and you do accounting work for somebody, you get paid for that day, right? You're not getting paid when you're not doing accounting. I get that. But if you're an actor and you have, as Kamiko put it, her boobs are on display, you're watching them, you're out there, you're getting that, and people are paying for that subscription, paying for that, you're still part of that work actively, right? So that's one of the issues there. Streaming, what keeps being fed to us is, well, we don't know how many people watch. The fuck you don't. You absolutely know how many people are watching. You absolutely know. And that's why ad revenue is being brought into a lot of these streamers too, so they can be making more money and everything. But then you have to be transparent about what you're making with all these people. That's why we've also seen so many tweets with writers, with actors too, saying, hey, here's what I made on network television. Here's what I made on streaming. The math don't math. Figure this out for me. An actor from Reservation Dogs posted about how little they make each year, how quarterly they're making cents on the dollar for all of their streams. A similar situation to Kamiko here. I would highly recommend people check out too. There's a great article that came out in the New Yorker about 5 days ago that talks about how Orange is the New Black was the kind of first hint of the rotting nature of, and that's their language, of what was going wrong with streaming, of how all of the cast got invited to the CEO of Netflix's home. And it was just already this big issue of, wait, how much is this show making? What did you just say? And why are we making this little? So it's been going on for a while, but we haven't had the opportunity to address it head on. I used to go to casting workshops where casting directors point blank would say, oh my gosh, why would you want to work for Netflix? You'll make no money. So it's been known for a while.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching our video. Make sure you do all the standard stuff, subscribe to the channel, click the thumbs up button. But listen, also, we do a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, hour-long show every day. Make sure you go and subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice.